podcast. The title of this episode is Mindset Work and Reaching Your Full Potential. In this episode, I'm so excited. We are speaking with Kathrine Louis, who is a business and mindset mentor and communications expert for female leaders, entrepreneurs, and artists. Kathrine, it is such an honor to have you on. Can you get the audience a little bit about your background and kind of how you got to where you are today?
Hi, Cristina. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a big pleasure. So actually I've been an entrepreneur for almost 17 years. And I started off with my very first business in my early 20s. So I've been going through all of it. Financial crisis, you name it. And I remember that so vividly in 2007 when the financial crisis hit full force. And that was in the middle of my first business. And this is when I really learned that your mindset is what determines your success or the lack thereof. Because seriously, not even a financial crisis could stop you from being successful if that is what you're striving for. And then I really started to get really deep into all things self-development and, all of the good things, and also really coming up with strategies. And then later on, I did a course in Harvard on leadership, and I started having my own coaches and mentors and really realized like what a difference that is. And then I started actually quite naturally being approached by other women, by other entrepreneurs, being like, okay, how do you do that? And I figured like, this is my life's purpose. Like when I get to work with my clients, that's when I'm alive, like
Mhm.
truly alive. I don't care what time it is of the day. I don't care whatsoever. Seeing them thrive and living a life they could have never even imagined they could. I have goosebumps talking about it right now. I can't even describe what a like purpose that is, to be quite honest. So yeah, that's like the background about me.
No, that's awesome. And it is so important. Your mindset really can make or break anything in your
Mhm.
life. The goals you're going after, whether that's losing weight, whether that's creating a business, going after,
Yes.
your dreams, because our mindset can set us back. Like if we're living in fear, let's say, to go after that thing we desire. And so that's kind of, I feel like, the obstacles in life is jumping over those fear hurdles and really diving into it and expanding that mind. So that's why I like having people like you on the show, because if people are just open to changing their thinking, they can open up a whole new world that they never could have imagined. And then they have people like you to help guide them along the way, because I feel like it's not easy doing it alone, and it's always nice to have someone that's going to kind of walk you through it and help you look at a different perspective, because we can get caught up in our own thoughts. Um, you kind of had mentioned, you're a mom of three, you're
Mhm.
a business owner, you're coaching people. How do you, juggle all of this? Because I know it's something that I struggle with, being a mom of two, trying to start my own thing, and we can get caught up in the day-to-day life, life happens. What do you do, and what can you suggest to someone who going after their stuff, mom, how do you do it? How do you juggle it all?
That's such a good question, because my friend just asked me that 3 days ago, literally, and she has one child. So my three kids, they're still fairly young. My youngest one is 6, middle one just turned 10 on Saturday, and then my eldest one being 12. And I figured, what I do, the entrepreneurship, but specifically being a mentor is nothing I could skip, because it's a part of me. It's if I wouldn't be doing it, I wouldn't be me. Like this is
Mhm.
Kathrine Louis, and I'm a mom, but I'm still a person. So my quote unquote work is what I need to be alive. And then obviously my kids are the most important thing, but the older they get, the more I realize, I mean, obviously, but the older they get, they have so much different kind of problems and hurdles and challenges. 12 years, it's like now we're talking iPhones and sneakers and not, prior stuff, whatever toys. And what I told my friend, and I seriously feel it every day because it can be overwhelming so much having three humans, you know, I just honestly take it moment by moment. I
Mm.
wouldn't even say day by day because just last week I had 3 consecutive days where in each of my baby's life something was going on, like really, dramatic stuff. And I had to take care of that. Obviously, I wanted to, but at the same time, still taking care of my clients, which I wanted to. So I just honestly take it moment by moment because if you just start thinking about it, you're gonna go nuts.
Yeah.
so, so really just do it one by one.
Yeah. And another thing I want to add, and it's something that I'm learning for myself, is like give yourself some grace, and it's
Hmm.
and it's okay. And not everything's gonna go according to plan. And just be nice to yourself because, like you
Yeah.
said, things are gonna arise with your children that you have to take care of. And that does take priority over some of the things that you want to do, but know that you'll get back to it and it'll get done, in the time and in the moment.
Also, as a family, overcoming stuff is like so precious, honestly. Just going through stuff because it's life, you're not gonna change it. But I also feel like it's just gonna get us closer. I don't know how it works, like getting even more close, but obviously, it's a bonding kind of thing. Yeah.
Totally. So, kind of going back to the topic, why do you think mindset work is so important, especially for female entrepreneurs and executives?
Because I have client executives in really high positions and they're still not living in their full potential.
Mm.
And that is because all of us, no matter if you're just starting out, which are maybe your first business, or you are at that C level, we all have what is called a glass ceiling. And if this glass ceiling, and what it means, it really is like, what do you think is possible for yourself? And that has a lot of do with conditioning, childhood, programming, all the kind of stuff. Um, Whatever you believe and have been believing as possible for you is what you will actually achieve in your life. And, specifically when women become really successful, but still not quite happy, most of the times that means they really haven't, really figured their full potential just yet.
Mm-hmm.
But they wouldn't even complain because they're successful, right? Like, how do you want to challenge that? But really, being in your full potential, and that has all and everything to do with your mindset, is your birthright, and you should be. And figuring this out is actually all just mindset work.
Yeah. And so, why do you think knowing your full potential is so important?
Because there is a society thing going on right now that you really have to work really hard and you actually have to struggle in order to be successful. But what people really need to realize, specifically women, because we try to, being humble and believe being successful for somewhat clash that, is that when you operate in your zone of genius or
Mm-hmm.
in your full potential, things suddenly become easy. Doesn't mean that you're not working. No, you're working, but when you are within your potential, within your zone of genius, it won't feel like work because it's an expression of who you are. And this is always when things suddenly get easy. I'm not saying you never need to do things you probably won't like, because
Yeah.
just accountant stuff, bookkeeping, all the things, stuff we just need to do. But what I'm talking about, like your real work, when you can achieve that, being in your full potential, being within your zone of genius, this is when you become fulfilled and successful. Money gets flowing. It's just a whole different scenario. And I just wish so much more women would know about that and also realize that it is in the picture for them.
Yeah. No, and that was, said very beautifully. I think, once we tap into that, like things just get grooving, and like we're
Hmm.
jiving, things flow. And like you said, money start coming to us. Like we attract better positive things, because we're all energy. So when we are vibing at like our highest potential, like we're going to attract all the things, and we'll probably be more creative in problem solving when we actually do have like challenges arise, because we are operating with our lid fully open. So
I love that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so for someone, wanting to start working on their goals, um and they don't know how to reach them, what is something that you can give right now that they could apply to their life?
I love that question. Quite honestly, most of the people have trouble with really, first of all, setting their goals and then obviously reaching them because they're not really honest with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because they tend to go for the goals they think are actually achievable. Well, here we go talking about the glass ceiling. So you really want to be honest with yourself and figure out what is your goal. When you really think, oh my God, this is so crazy, this is so not happening, this is most probably the goal you really want to achieve, because otherwise you couldn't even think of it. And then you really want to reverse engineer. You really want to break it down. Take that crazy, insane goal, which is yours already, by the way, and then really, what does it take for you to get there? Break it down in smaller tasks. And this is when you start like literally seeing, oh wow, well actually I can do that, and maybe I could be doing this, and then really break it down into small, like month by month tasks. What can you do today to move closer to your goal? Because there's always something. And this is when the stuff really gets crazy, because people just see, oh my God, I could actually really be doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I like that. Break it down, simplify it, take the
Hmm.
big goal at top, break it down, and do little step-by-step processes. And then you kind of said something in the beginning that really clicked with me, was about how like, oh my God, how could I achieve this goal? Like it's kind of like too big, it's scary. I feel like if it's big and scary and you have a desire for it, like it's meant for you, and
Yeah.
part of like maybe your journey and going through it is, the mindset, overcoming obstacles, and proving to yourself. And it's just like this whole process thing. And if it scares you and you have a desire for it, go for it. I mean,
Yeah.
that means that it's there for you. I mean, that's how I feel. And I'm pretty
You
sure.
know what? 100%. You know what I tell my clients when we talk about this? If it wasn't supposed to be yours, you wouldn't have had that idea to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the moment you have that idea, that desire, that goal, it's already yours. You can't even take that away no more. And this is when people have to realize that success is different to all of us. It's difficult for us to believe because we have that idea of success all the time. So it's difficult to wrap your mind around that other people could be like have different goals.
Mm-hmm.
But I keep on preaching. If you have that desire, it's already yours. So have that strength and go for it. It's meant to be yours.
Yeah, no, I love that. And that's a great reminder for everyone listening. If you have that inside of you to do something, a burning desire, but you're hesitant, that's your sign. Go and do it. Be brave,
Yeah.
be bold, hire people like Kathrine to like help you break down your goals and look at things from a different perspective. It's important because we don't want to look back in our life and be like coulda, woulda, shoulda, you know?
Yeah.
And,
Hmm.
and I think that's like probably the most regretful thing. That's why I started this podcast. I had a desire to want to like talk and like be out there, but I was fearful of it, and I was like, but I'm just going to do it anyway. I'm going to be uncomfortable. It's good to be uncomfortable. Step out of the box. You're never going to grow if you're staying inside the box.
100%. Yes.
So, Kathrine, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, if you want to get in touch, please feel free to check out my website, katherinelouis.com, or of course, check out my Instagram and just send me DM, just send me an email, and we're gonna chat from there. I'm so excited.
Perfect. So I have 4 questions I ask all my guests, and I cannot wait to know what your answers are. And my first question to you is, who and what inspires you?
Honestly, my kids, because seeing them grow, I think you would need probably to be a parent to understand that, but seeing them grow, seeing where they're going, and just everything about that is really inspiring me every single day.
Yeah, no, I know it's amazing. I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, and
Oh,
just seeing their little milestones and like how they see the world and their perspective, and like, I have an idea, mom,
yes.
it's like, it's so cute. So I could only imagine, like, as they get older, like how much more inspiring they could be, with like your age kids. So that's cute. So my second question is, what is something you wished you knew when you were younger?
I wish I honestly just wish I would have known everything mindset and that thing with the glass ceiling and just really trusting your instinct. Oh my God, like listen to it when it screams to you. I think if I could just have known anything, definitely this one.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I feel like I would have been a lot more advanced in life if I knew these tools when I
Same,
was younger.
same. Yes.
um, so my third question is, what's the essential part of your daily routine?
I honestly have learned there is nothing like a routine with 3 kids. So the older they get, it honestly gets so much more easy, especially when they're in school and everything. But I just, as I said before, take it day by day, and I try to have some self-care in place because, as you said, I have some grace and really nurture myself, which is so important. But I have learned just to go with the flow.
Yeah.
That's all. Honestly.
And my last and final question is, the best advice you've ever received.
That was from my grandma when I was like really small. She told me when I would meet new people just to take a second and really figure things out for myself. And that's just so much who I am. Like I'm really an outgoing person, but at the same time, I'm such an introvert. So I'm just really taking my time, picking up the energy, what is going on, what is the intention of the person in front of me, because, just really observing and figuring things out. So thank you, Grandma. So I honestly think that has saved me a lot in life.
Yeah, no, that is really great advice. So any last words before we say goodbye today?
I'm just so grateful to be on this episode. I think that was just one big goosebump. I just really love how it just sort of like feels like you're on the very same page like me when it comes to energy and just really mindset things. So I'm just very grateful to have had that conversation.
Well, I'm so thankful for you coming on this week's episode of Not Your Mama's podcast. All of Catherine's links are down below in the show notes. Don't be shy. Go say hi. And thank you all
Yeah.
for listening to this week's episode of Not Your Mama's podcast.